Saka, Martinelli, Eze, Gyökeres. Just put your foot through it. Put your foot through it, lad. Just crack it, lad. Just do that. Easy.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian, man. Come on.
Well, I hope everyone's had a great week. I hope the weekend is fantastic. People deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. And in some cases, depending on where you're tuned in from, good night. Appreciate you lot for tuning in. If you ain't hit the like button, please make sure you're doing that. Big up you lot on Twitch. How are we feeling about Arsenal Everton? Now, don't shoot me, people. I'm nervous, man. It does feel like a draw. It's got draw written all over it. Again, for obvious reasons, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's not a draw. If I was to talk with my head, I'm saying 1-1 draw. If I'm talking with my heart, 2-1, 3-1 Arsenal, Bukayo Saka to shut some people up with a goal. I always get a bit nervous when it's Mikel Arteta against David Moyes. I know we beat them at the Goodison, and I ain't got no evidence at hand, but it does always feel like we drop points against them. But yeah, man, big up the members, the mods, the long-term subscribers, you lot watching this on the replay in an hour and 8 minutes. Now, there's been a lot of chattings and wassings about Myles Lewis-Skelly. So I did a video about it, people. So yeah, man, if you ain't got nothing else to do after this stream, it will take you over there. You know what you need to do. Watch alongs. We're active from, tomorrow. We've got a lot to watch together in terms of football over the weekend, man. I was watching Arsenal's under 21s just before we went live. It was 1-0 down when I left. I don't know what it's saying now. I think Marseille are playing tonight, so hopefully Wanyeri does something across the weekend. We're watching Arsenal versus Everton. We're watching West Ham United against Manchester City. We're watching Liverpool against Spurs. So yeah, man, we're live, man. There's a lot of content. And then Tuesday, Champions League business, man. I was a Toffee fan when they played against United in Atlanta. Big up you, man. F-Man United, we're on them. Rob, Pot, even though you got a nose pierce and Karma, appreciate you lot. So, yeah, man, what have we got to discuss? Apparently, the Brighton gaffer's been talking. There's new contracts on the horizon for Timber and obviously Declan Rice. Pep Guardiola has won Manager of the Month, and we hope that manager curse comes back to bite City on the arse, people. So, yeah, man, how you lot been? Smash the likes. Let me know how you're feeling. Would never sell Myles Lewis-Skelly. He's clearly talented, so there's an upside, and he's an academy product on top of that. It's a weird one because if I look at it without emotion, the man's 19. You're about where you should be at 19 years of age. You played a bunch of times, obviously not so much this season, but you had a great run last year. You're obviously doing your thing. You're a future of this club. A couple months ago, I wasn't, as much as I love Lewis-Skelly, I wasn't with that, but fans were saying he's the next Ashley Cole potential Arsenal captain. In terms of the isms and schisms, like being a bit more switched on defensively, dilly-dallying on the ball. These are things that you'd expect of a 19-year-old, and he's done quite well. He's played, 65 times for Arsenal Football Club, done his thing in Europe for us. He's part of Arsenal's first team. And one thing I do like, and it's a luxury afforded to Myles Lewis-Skelly and Wanyeri, obviously it means a lack of game time, but these young players can be young players. When Saka was coming through, when we had Smith Rowe, I know he didn't come from Highland, but when we had Martinelli, to a degree, Joe Willock, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, these lot were playing because we were crap as a team. Now we're competing. And if I'm honest with you, I told you lot in August, it weren't a youngster thing. That we're just trying to get this over the line. Mikel Arteta is always going to bet. If there's 10 games, he's going to bet on the experienced players. If there's a 10-game stretch, them experienced players are going to minimum 6 out of 10 across the board. Myles Lewis-Skelly is going to be kind of up and down. As I said, you'd expect that of his career. I understand it though, man. I would say, and again, I don't want to spoil the video to come out at 10 p.m., but if you look at Myles Lewis-Skelly's career as an Arsenal player, it tells you life can change very quickly because he was on the peripheral things, got his chance, ran with it. Before you know it, the media's trying to kill him, had the whole Haaland thing, which it weren't a problem with Haaland, but he shut him up. Obviously, England cap, he's been capped 6 times. And then now he's back on the bench and it's difficult. When you've got a hand on your dream or when you've tasted caviar, it's very different to start eating bully beef again, innit? So you have to let kids be kids. And obviously, I do think more young players, quote unquote, will get opportunities at first team level because you need a bigger squad. But this is something that goes against these players. You look at Man United, there's probably a couple of young players, in their squad that would love more first team football. But obviously, they're trying to do what they're trying to do. We obviously know Arsenal. That Rio guy at Liverpool's a brilliant player. Liverpool have been a bit shit. I've called for him to play for Liverpool. Not that I have anything to say, but it's taking him a while. So I think all options are on the table with Myles Lewis-Skelly to get, well, this season's not a write-off collectively, but individually, I don't think it's too much to scream and shout about. But you might get more opportunities this year. You might get more opportunities next season. Obviously, you could go out on loan. If we're talking about who's going to make the most money for this football club, if we do really need to sell to buy, you're going to get, on top of it being 100% profit, you're going to make more money off Myles Lewis-Skelly, off Nwaneri. Let's be as conservative and just say them two is 100 million. They're 50 million pound players a pop and a sell-on clause because they've got new contracts. With Gabriel Jesus, just throwing some names out there, with Gabriel Jesus, with Martinelli, with Trossard, they might fetch similar fees or probably less. You're more looking at it as saving wages. We know we've committed about 40, 50 odd million already to turn Hincapie's deal permanent. Zinchenko's obviously off the wage bill in January. And there's a lot of other things, in terms of finances, the wages and the transfer fees, they're in a mix, they're together. And, Lewis-Skelly signed, big up Berta, by the way. Lewis-Skelly signed a new deal. Nwaneri signed a new deal. Saka signed a new deal. Raya and Trossard signed improved terms. There's rumours around Timber and Rice. We need to look after these kind of things, innit? But yeah. And there's also the case of loaning them out, because you might say they haven't got a future. You loan them out. You might get 50 million for this season. Next season, if they're playing week in, week out, maybe getting England caps, you might get 70 or whatever. Obviously, I'm exaggerating and being a bit silly with the numbers, but you get the point. DG spitting with the caviar analogy. Once you taste the snow buddies, it's over. You're speaking for yourself. SLD, the class clown, is back in the building. You don't win trophies with kids. True. And again, I do think you have to let young players be young players. Mistakes are always going to happen. Name me a footballer in this Arsenal first team or any Premier League club that ain't made a mistake from August to now. And mistakes, obviously, if you're Lewis-Skelly and you're playing left back, they're going to prove more fatal, innit? A mistake is easier to identify if a goalie or defender makes a mistake. But missing 1v1s, making the wrong passes and the opposition goes down the other end, those kind of things are mistakes as well. And again, when I look at Manchester City and I look at Nico O'Reilly, I do look at Arteta a bit sideways because Pep Guardiola is the greatest club manager, arguably, right? City are fighting for all trophies, right? Obviously, Nico O'Reilly couldn't hack the pressure at the Bernabeu. Myles Lewis-Skelly don't know about that. But with all the backdrop of what's going on with City, O'Reilly's still playing. He was playing left back. He's put him in midfield. So one, he's seen as a key player for this season. He's seen as one of the best options at this moment in time. Now, Arteta and Pep, they're within their rights to do whatever the hell they want to do, if that makes sense, people. But then I look at it and say, why can't Lewis-Skelly get some more minutes? That's my thing. Do I think he could have got more occasional starts? 100%. But where I look at someone like Norgard, who's of the opposite end of his career, and I look at Myles Lewis-Skelly, my thing with both of them is you could get more cameo minutes sort of thing. And that's where I'm at. If our form was inconsistent, I know we ain't been perfect, but you get what we're fighting for. If we were inconsistent and across a 10-game period, you had 2 wins, 2 losses, just a mixed bag, I could make more of a case of other players getting opportunities, but generally the team has been doing its job. So I don't really feel there's a song and dance really to be made about that. I do think rotation is overrated and overstated, and I'll clarify that position. If life was fair, we'd all have a lot less. And I think a lot of people forget this is professional football. Not everybody can just get a game for getting game's sake. And even though I think in the attack and all those kind of things, we're not full flowing. If we were rotating, we probably don't have the results we have on the board. Where I kind of agree with certain statements like that is, you look at Rice and Zubi in particular, man, them are looking tired. They're looking a bit knackered. That's where I'm saying, there's 20 minutes here and there for Myles Lewis-Skelly. There's an occasional start, and the same goes for Norgard, really. Now, it's a learning curve for Myles Lewis-Skelly as well, because he had to be patient initially. First name on the team sheet, got a new had a good season last year, got a new contract, coming into the season with a degree of optimism in it, but he's now lost his spot. There's a number of players that could, I know people here frustrated and unhappiness, and they start getting a bit excited. Who wants a player that's happy to be on the bench? What player is happy to be on the bench? There should be X amount, whoever's on the bench or not in the match day squad. That kind of should be a thing, if you get where I'm going. So I want that. Trossard's been vexed at a period, and it's not just Myles Lewis-Skelly. I don't agree with Kepa, but you can make a case of the Kepas, I'm exaggerating with Kepa, but Kepa, Norgard, Christian Mosquera, very unfortunate that you've got Timber, Saliba, and Gabriel, and obviously Lewis-Skelly and Wanyeri, guys that want to play more. But it is what it is, man. This season is just about getting over the line. Now, I personally don't. There's something clearly lacking in Myles Lewis-Skelly's game that Arteta doesn't want to play him in midfield, innit? Is it something he needs to add, something he needs to work on? Does he not just feel he can play there? Obviously, the reality is for Myles Lewis-Skelly, you're competing with people more experienced than you that have been brought for millions of pounds and you're an international footballer, but you became that. They come in like Calafiori came into this team with an Italian cap. Hincapié, a player we've been looking at for a while, came into this thing with like significant experience, title winning experience, playing for his country. This is the reality for a lot of these young players. But you could argue, you never know. Push comes to shove. Hincapié, Calafiori ahead of him. I don't know. You'd have to ask Mikel Arteta if it came to it. Would he put Timber left back and bring in Benjamin White before, at this current moment, he plays Myles Lewis-Skelly? Then you look in the midfield. Of course, everyone's kind of a different kind of midfielder. So we're just going to group it as you can play in one of the three, if not all three of those positions in midfield. So either in the pivot with Rice or Zubamendi or in place, or in the Odegaard role. Reality is, and I know man are injured, Kai Havertz, Merino, Norgard, obviously Zubamendi, Declan Rice, Eze even at a push, Odegaard, all of these guys are going to play there at this moment in time before Lewis-Skelly. So you're trapped. You kind of have to stay patient, but I understand if a man wants to go out on loan. I understand all variables at play, but yeah, in 59 minutes, there's a video coming out in exactly all of my thoughts with Myles Lewis-Skelly, but great way to break the ice. Andy, big up yourself. Slap the likes, people. Slap them like PSG, slap Chelsea. If we aren't forced to sell due to PSR, I don't see the benefit of selling Myles Lewis-Skelly. I don't think we need to sell because of PSR, because you can't have your cake and eat it. We know we've got a well-run ship. We're not really ever in financial issues. We look after the P's. If we want to sell, it's because we want to sell and balance the books. Now, generally, we haven't done well of late of selling players. We've been ripping up contracts. We ain't really got bread for no one. Obviously, when Berta's walked through the door, that is something that he's got to be good at. That's a big selling point for him coming to the club. We all know he's a great businessman and all of that, but selling, we've been poor at that. And for me, I think there's something to be said with our academy, like grooming these players. I know that's a terrible word to use, but grooming these players so that if they don't make it at Arsenal, can they be sold on for significant profit? And for argument's sake, you can see Mika Berev, Balogun, all of these guys doing what they're doing, and then you reinvest that into the transfer key. We have given a number of new contracts. We did bring in some players on big deals. There is an element to sell, and it goes over everybody's head, including my own. Bro, man, need to sell Fabio Vieira and Reece Nelson. Reece Nelson's on 100-odd bags. So it's crazy. DG just brought a frozen chicken, reminded me of Spurs. Heads gone and no guts. Bloody hell. Big up, Ollie. We go to war, but you're an appreciated member of the DG Nation, man. 50, 60 million I'd sell. But even that, if you're going to buy Myles Lewis-Skelly or Wanyeri at this moment in time, you might have 50 million last year. And I know 50 million is not, it sounds mad, but 50 million ain't really that much money in football. It sure as hell is to us, innit? Like the game's kind of gone. You might have been saying 50, 60 million if you was offered Wanyeri or Lewis-Skelly last year. Are you going to be doing that? Because I wouldn't. Nothing to do with their ability. Like, I might rate Myles Lewis-Skelly and Wanyeri and think, oh, you know what? Arteta and Arsenal might be dropping the bag. Why am I going to pay 50 million? I'll sit there and say, oh, well, he can't really be worth 50 mil. He's barely buying a game. What's going on here? I'll give you 35 for him. We keep it moving, innit? So, yeah, man. It is what it is. Just watched the short. That touch was atrocious. What was that about my team? I've had some terrible touches. Bro, you ain't taking a bad first touch. Like, bro, I've seen professional footballers do that. So I can. Yeah, it was horrible. Still, big up yourself, Riley. Shit out the Twitch gang. Rice does need rest before it's too late and he's injured. Boy, it's these kind of things, yeah. It's the way I would love to have obviously I can't, but I'd love to speak with Mikel Arteta because I am nervous about midfield. I've said that midfield's the one area I feel obviously the limelight is on our defense. We know how good they are. We know what they do. They obviously chip in with goals as well as defending. Big up David Raya for his clean sheets. Attack, whether it's Saka's individual form, Eze, Gyökeres not hitting the heights, the frustrations of Trossard and Martinelli, Noni Madueke, they probably get a lot more. There's a lot more talking points individually and collectively, but midfield scares me, bro. Anything happens to Zubi, we're in trouble. Anything happens to Rice, we're in trouble. And you know what? It's a hot take, but the Leverkusen game, Zubi, and more so Kai Havertz, because Kai Havertz got booked for being 6 foot plus. Like, he actually didn't do nothing from that set piece. that yellow card, especially around suspensions, and if we do go through against Leverkusen and maneuver through to the next rounds, it might bite us on the arse, man. I want this extension for Rice that's being talked about, and I want him to somehow get some rest. I can't lie, there's no time for rest, but extension, he deserves that. And obviously, I don't know what the club's plans are, but we all know the more pressing contracts were the Sakas, the Salibas, the Gabriel Magalhães, the Myles Lewis-Skellies and Wanyeris going into this. Then, naturally, Rice is going to get improved terms. Timber is going to get improved terms. There's been improved terms for like the Trossards and the Rayas, and there's been others. Where I'm looking at Kai Havertz is the length on his contract. Kai Havertz, the length of his contract. Martin Odegaard. My hot take is I think both will get new deals, but there's been radio silence. So again, as a novice fan and as an armchair expert, do you read into that? I don't know, people. I wouldn't sell Lewis-Skelly, but sometimes in football, there's no room for sentiment. And plus, if he's not happy with game time, he might want to move or consider a loan. So yeah, I hear it, man. I hear it. We mismanaged both MLS and Wanyery. They should have had a convo and loaned them out. But to a degree, we needed them as bodies. I told you lot in August, Wanyery is going to go on loan in January. Myles Lewis-Skelly, I think you're staying as a body. And to be fair with you, can never have too much bodies. Even with this squad depth, it's been tested. Remember a few weeks ago, we're seeing Timber and Hincapié as our first choice centre halves. Brighton in the League Cup, did we not have Harriman and Noose and Dowman big them up? But we all know if the attackers wasn't down to their bare bones, it probably wouldn't have been that, man. I'm nervy about Everton only because this one really matters points-wise. I can't cap. David Moyes, allow it, bro. Allow it. And do you know what's so mad? Everton's away form is great, But again, it's the Premier League. Every game's a cup final. Everton are a big club like us, haven't been relegated. David Moyes is Premier League royalty. He's been about, as much as people say Mikel Arteta's got his own philosophies, which I don't doubt that. They say he's Pep V2 or Pep's little kid, essentially. David Moyes, a lot of David Moyes probably rubbed off on Mikel Arteta. And I'd imagine David Moyes is extremely proud of what his former player is doing, but we ain't got time for sentiment. We need to move to them, people. Keep the comments coming. Please make sure you're smashing the like button. I really hope Arsenal fans voted for this. You know me, I'm not superstitious, but I do think if there's one superstition I believe in the Premier League, when Premier League players and the managers, when they start getting player or manager of the month, it's like, ooh, how's that one going to pan out? Listen, we need these lot to collapse because Pep Guardiola's doing the mind games. He's like, we lose to West Ham, the title's over. Listen, irons tomorrow, and we will be doing a watch along. Stranger things have happened. I'll be real. I'd give more of a chance of a snowball not melting in hell. I think West Ham are going to get ran through. Of course, I want them to win because it does us a favor, provided we do our jobs. And away from Arsenal, obviously, you want anybody apart from Spurs that is in and around there. You want them, man, to win games, innit? I think Spurs are going to beat Liverpool for what it's worth. But even them, a couple of players are missing due to injuries. They're going to have no Paulinho and Romero owing to concussion, people. So it'd be interesting. As you can see here, Pep Guardiola said, Premier League title race is over if we don't beat West Ham. I've always said, when we arrive in the last 10 games, every team plays for something. For relegation, for Europa League, for Conference League, for Champions League, or to be champions. I mean, every game matters, but this is why I always say, when you get to the 10-game mark, like it past August, obviously the title, the Prem starts in August. When you get to the 10-game mark, that's when the business starts. So it really is how you start and you finish. In between, there's whatever, but that's not really where the story is kind of written. Obviously, for us, that will be nerds. Whether we win, lose, or draw, we'll review the whole season. Great, but that's where the narratives are won and lost in it. And I do feel these 2 weeks is make or break. And I know we've said that every week, really, since the ball's been kicked. Leverkusen game's gone. We know what we need to do on Tuesday. We know what we've got next week, Sunday, in a cup final, ironically, against Manchester City. And we obviously know why we need to win every Premier League game. UK, appreciate you. A man said, oh, yeah, I brought the authentic shirt and got Gyökeres on the back. You bought the actual shirt that the players are wearing on a match day. Are you getting a full kit as well? Big up Gyökeres, but I don't know for getting Gyökeres on the back of the shirt. And I don't think, personally, unless you're related, or unless it's like an Henri or something, I don't think grown men and women should get the players' names on the back. Get your own names. Leave that to the little kids. But everyone's allowed their thoughts. Big up Revolutionary Pop, man. Makes great decisions, man. It's on brand, Gyökeres' decision-making has been question mark. You've got a nose pierce. It's all love, man. But I don't think Pep is wrong here. It's normal. Every game now, there are no second chances. Anyone disagree? Can't imagine they do, people. And on that, don't forget, people, we will be doing a watch-along against Everton. We obviously will be doing a watch-along for West Ham United versus Manchester City. Links are being posted. And then obviously, make sure you smash the like button on this. It's in relation to Myles Lewis-Skelly, man. Was doing that all day when I got home, people. That's why we're here late. But yeah, how are we also feeling about our next 6 games, people? We've got Everton tomorrow at home. Then we've got Leverkusen at home. Then we've got the cup final against Manchester City. It's then international break. Then we've got Southampton away, which has come out. It will be at 8 p.m. kickoff. Then you've got Bournemouth at home, where Areola has said sooner or later you got to decide my future. And then you got Manchester City away in the league. So there is no margins for error, really. We're going to have to find a way by hook or by crook. And I genuinely think for us and City, there's going to be a lot more twists and turns, man. I hear it, but I have Messi shirts at 8. Yeah, Messi's a legend. He can allow it. I don't trust Arsenal, simple as that. We do have the element of shooting ourselves in the foot, man. Big up yourself, Gordon, man. 144 quid. Why did you get that? You're not playing, mate. When we getting this shiny new left winger, if we do, who we thinking we're getting in? Hayden, I ain't got a clue, but I'm with you in that. To be honest with you, and I've always kicked for the next season. So 2026, 27, whether they start the game or not, but whoever the first game of the season is, yeah, I need to feel 100% convinced with my collective midfield options. I personally need to see another left winger. And yeah, as a minimum, and yeah, I could tell you, I personally think we need another defender. I actually think we're going to sign another goalie. My hot take is both Norgard and Kepa leave, especially if we win something, not because they want to. It's just a career is short. You know, last season, they were like, Kepa was starting week in, week out at Bournemouth. Norgard the same at Brentford. So there's interest in this. And my hot take would be, if you could get Julian Alvarez, great. Gyökeres fight out with him, help the collective. You got the Havertz and Marinos, that's great. Jesus, it's been real. If you're not going to go and get Julian Alvarez, which I don't believe we're going to spend 80, 100 odd million on him, and then let's go as conservatives, 50, 60 upwards on a winger, and then a blockbuster centre mid. If you're not going to get another striker, like that's a game changer. Can we get a young one that can be groomed? Like it's a poor example in it, but like the Sesco's and the Liam Delaps, like if you marry them with that kind of age profile with an experienced striker, I can be here for it, man. But I love it, man. We should have got a left winger in the summer, man. Big up, Berta. You did your thing, but the good, the bad, and the ugly of this football club, like we've not learned anything this season. Like all the things we're vexed about were there last year. All the things we're happy about were there. All the areas of improvement and things that we need to improve, they were there. Right now, it is what it is, innit? Like it is what it is. By hook or by crook, get over the line. Like specifically where our attackers are concerned, I don't believe I'm gonna see free flowing football at this moment in time. Now I don't know, but we've been talking about it from last season, from pre-season, from August all the way to the end of 2025, from 2026 in January to now. Is it going to happen in March? Probably not. At best, you're hoping for a purple patch. We saw Gyökeres go through a good moment of form, a little patch. We've seen, obviously, Trossard do it. We can't quite extend that to the Ezes, to the Odegaards, to the Sakas, to Noni does his thing and he's not starting, but to the Nonis. You know what? To be fair, Nelly, Bilbao away, that kind of period, you was doing your thing in that super sub role. But this is what I mean, hot and coldness. And if we want to be going from a good team, which we've been in the last 4 years, I know, no trophy, to a great one, these are the questions that need answers, man. My fave stat in Champions League history, 47 teams have led by 3 goals or more after the first leg. Only 4 times the team has turned that round in the second leg. Bye-bye City, Chelsea, and Spurs, you're out. Somehow, yeah, obviously, nobody's happy with how we played and the result against Leverkusen. And I shouldn't be surprised because it's the Arsenal tax. How have we become the major talking points of the Champions League? Because cool, we never won as well. PSG bought Chelsea and Chelsea shot themselves in the foot. Spurs, it's not even funny anymore. I lied. It definitely is spliffed themselves. Liverpool lost again away in Turkey. But where are the talking points? You know, in a week here where Saka stunk up the place and his season's not been anything to scream and shout about. Cole Palmer stunk up the place. Foden stunk up the place. What are you seeing from Sky Sports in that? It's all odd. Noni, should he be dropped for Saka? Why? Because Arsenal fans indirectly, because of the engagement farming, we pay the rent of these places, man. Rice is less prone to get a knock if he plays 6, in my opinion. Razzle, respectfully, explain your working out. How? Because if you're playing 6 or 8, bro, you're still getting through a lot of ground. You're still having to run up and down. Just because you're 6, you're going to have to be in 8 positions at times. There's no just staying in a certain part of the pitch and conserving energy. Now, don't get it twisted. There probably is an element of a number of Premier League teams where you're going into games. You know you're not 100%. You know you can't necessarily put your best foot forward, but you just have to get the result, man. It was crazy, but I like because of an injury tax. What are you referring to? DG, did you catch an education or just get right to work? I'm not sure what you mean there. I mean, it's going over my head, man. Same thing happens to Trent. Gunner's always got bread. There's a reason way before my time, yeah. Like we were called the Bank of England club. So that's what I mean. If we're needing to sell, it's because we want to sell players. And from a business point of view, look, no, I hate to refer to a football club as a business. I get it because there's been a lot of money spent. There's been a lot of big contracts. We need to get some P's in. So I get it. DG, do you think Arteta will evolve the attack once we get over the line, or do you expect more of the same? Honestly, I don't know, because maybe he doubles down on this approach. I do think yes, and I would love to speak to Arteta and the players, because I do think the players probably need a bit something different, and I do think maybe he's shocked with the inconsistencies or the form of a number of these attackers. But something has to change. There needs to be an element of unpredictability next season. As I don't know about no one else here, but it feels like the meal's cooked, Gaffer. You just need to put some like oxtail gravy on the rice. It's done. Like it's done. Like 90%, 98%, we're there, you know. It's just that 2 to 10% of what we're asking for, when the handbrake needs to go down on a consistent basis, of moving the ball a bit quicker, of doing some random stuff. That's the only thing I think beyond the obvious that we need to bring into our game. That's why I know it was a needs must thing. But when I was seeing Kai Havertz and Gyökeres playing together, and Havertz in the Odegaard role, or Saka in that role, we need these different kind of stuff, man, in my opinion. Last Arsenal shirt I got was Saka in 2022-23 with Saka on the back at £120. For that reason alone, I've stopped buying shirts yearly. It's just too expensive. Just wait for the new kit to come out. These ones go on sale. I ain't bought a kit since the gold and blue kit when we had Ozil and Sanchez, and I ain't broke, so I got the proper thing in it. Whoa. You know, it's for me. I really want these this season shirts, but I told you, and I have to stand on my word. Last season, I said, I'm not investing anymore. Like, I need us to get over the line. Then I'm back. You lot saw how many shows did we have? I'm unboxing the new shirt and whatnot. I need something back now, boys. Specifically, some silverware. I can't do another season of its man win. And I'm not sure what you're saying there, man. I can't do another season of. I think you mean this, man. Win, and our attacking setup needs to return to 2023-24. I also feel Arteta, obviously he's to blame, for want of a better phrase, because it's your team. But at the same time, these players, bro, a lot of you are too hot and cold. I do think you're very naive if you thought the conditions were right for Gyökeres and Eze. We just signed them, slapped them on the pitch, and they're going to be great. But Gyökeres, I kind of accept you for what you are. If you're not going to create chances, it's a myth. But control the controllables. Like, you need to start getting on the ball and having some shots. You need to make sure you've got that balanced kind of mentality, because I do think a lot of our players are emotional. When things are going well, you can see they're feeling themselves. When they're down, their confidence is shot. I feel that with a lot of our attackers. Eze, I need a bit more across 90 minutes. Noni, relative to the minutes you're getting and all of that, I ain't really got energy for you. Just generally, as you've come to the club, you and Mikel Arteta, I need numbers, because I genuinely don't feel any of our attackers are bad. You look at them individually, none of them are bad. But when you look at them collectively, and you know, we're trying to go from being a good team to a great team, winning stuff, you need to start knowing who's getting 15, 20 league goals for playing up front. What's my left winger doing? What's my right winger doing? How many goals have I got from centre mid? How many goals are coming from midfield? What's my super sub saying? And then I say this about all comps. Obviously, we know the one thing you can bet on is our defense. You know what they're going to do, and you know Rice is there as well. Other than that, it's all you don't really know. Would you not take Kevin Schauder? I can't say his name, from Brentford. I would, you know. Gyökeres was never going to get 50 plus goals this season. Who genuinely thought that? If he's able to get 12, 15 goals for the price we paid, I'd be pretty happy with that. Makes the season look a bit better. I think Norgard, White, Kai, MLS should start. Sub Timber, Piero, Incapie, Victor, and Zubi. Too many changes for me, Gordon. I'll be real, man. Did you get the third kit for the parade? We get over the line. The money gets spent, bro. Like, the money gets spent. We confirmed that, of course. Bucket hats and all. 100%. Norgard has to start one of these next 4 games, by the way. I don't disagree, man, because I am shocked with him, that the lack of cameo appearances from him. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. If we had to bet money today, would you bet on Norgard starting tomorrow against Everton? Probably not. Would you bet on him starting the home leg against Leverkusen? Probably not. Would you bet on him starting the League Cup final? Probably not. You never know, but probably not. At best, if I had to put money down, and again, I'm not Mikel Arteta, I can't see into the future. We live day by day. But if you had to put money down, looking at these games, you're probably going to start Southampton away, innit? If I'm honest with you. So, yeah, man. Do you think Rice has enough offensive impact, and do you think it's instructions or instinct? I really think he's capable of influencing the attack more, but he just doesn't for some reason. With Rice, I think he can force the issue a bit. And I do like the fact that he's added more things to his game. You know, he was a 6 at West Ham. He's taking that 6 stuff, and obviously, he's taking set pieces. He's licking in free kicks. He's doing all of that. He's doing all of that kind of stuff, people. But how much blood can you draw from a stone? Like, Rice is never going to be that kind of midfield maestro. That's not why you became a professional footballer, sort of thing. So yeah, man, it is what it is. Marcel, no one's giving you any attention, mate. You're just wassing it, mate. Like, you're wassing it, man. I want to bring this up as well. Thierry Henry did say this. You don't have to like the way Arsenal play, but you will respect it. Yes, we weren't great against Leverkusen, but even on an off night, we found a way to get a draw. That's what top teams do. And at the Emirates, I believe we'll finish the job. I still believe Arsenal will win the Premier League title. As for the Champions League, we'll see how far this team can go. But let me say it again, you don't have to like us. When Jose Mourinho and Diego Simeone set up their teams the way they want, people call it tactical brilliance. But when Arsenal do things our way, suddenly it becomes a problem. We are not here to please pundits. We are not here to satisfy rival fans. We're here to win. Hopefully it does end in silverware. Now we're going to go over the Brighton gaffer, people. If you're not following me on TikTok, what the hell are you doing? Because I have done a short piece about it. Duffy really know for frightened, but Fabian admits to texting Mikel Arteta after Arsenal time-wasting complaints. You just know you're one of the youngest managers. You're even younger than Arteta, and you're scheming on this job. For what it's worth, I've said it before. You're a fantastic gaffer, and you're going to have a fantastic future. But shut up. Like, you're a bit of a complainer, people. And I think Mikel Arteta has obviously spoken about. I don't want to hear it from Fabian. For the life of me, I can't say that last name, so I'm not going to attempt. We're just going to call you Fabian. What specifically have you said? I just prefer the Metro's website. It just looks a bit better. What specifically have you said? I think it's very important to say one thing about that, and I said it in the press comments before the game, that I really admire what Arteta achieved so far this season. Fuck your admiration. I really admire seeing Mikel Arteta, his team, his players, and all the staff, how they work. And I'll be the first one who will congratulate them if they win the Prem. Bro, who are you, bro? Patting your own thing. You are failing Brighton right now. They should be scheming on Europe, patting your own thing. I didn't want to upset anyone from Arsenal. I didn't want to upset the staff or the players. But on the other side, I'll stick to my words that some things I wasn't happy about that night. Well, I've offered all my thoughts about why you're saying what you're saying about time wasting, because how many times have you led in the game? And actually, when you consider the lack of leading, the amount of points you've dropped from winning positions, the amount of times you've not put the ball in the back of the net, maybe you would be a bit street smarter. Statistically, in the Premier League at this moment in time, Brighton, you've not been in the lead. So 9 times out of 10, you're not having to box smart and defend well and just get the 3 points and go. You're on the offensive. You're trying to chase, you're trying to chase losing points. So naturally, you want the game played quicker. You're a very young and naive manager. And you will learn about, I'll never make my team play like that. Okay. Never say never in this life. Stay humble, my guy. But yeah, away from that, we don't care about your admiration. If you don't support my football club, who gives a monkeys, man? Before 2025, Saka's got 59 EPL goals. Henry had 58. Now, by no stretch of the imagination, is Bukayo Saka in the same realm as Thierry Henry. But I think he makes it 60 tomorrow. And that'd be nice, man. Some of you need to shut up about Bukayo, man. We'll get back into Saka, but I really want to see Mikel Arteta's press conference, people. Smash the like button, mods. Because we all know Trossard missed out against Leverkusen owing to the knock he picked up against Mansfield. Arteta did reveal that he obviously trained and he clearly wasn't feeling well enough. And yeah, man, Saka, you needed to come off against Leverkusen, and Noni did his thing, really. Now, I think people like to have their cake and eat it, because Saka's not had as bad a season as people are making out. Does he need to score more? Yes. Do we need to expect a bit more? Yes. Is there questions about maybe Arteta's overplayed him? All of these kind of things, they're all relevant and prevalent. But when he was banging and scoring goals, and a lot of people like to have their cake and eat it, and I implore everybody to just hear me out for a sec. Football fans of the game. People sit there and call man GA merchants. Ironically, I need Saka to be a GA merchant, because regardless of it being a shit season from Saka, which he's probably due because he came back from a hamstring injury, did his thing last year. All the seasons have been great on a goal scoring front. He's bucked some adversity, which sucks a bit because we're trying to win a title. And obviously, you got the World Cup. He's top for a lot of statistics apart from the ones we need, innit? Goals and assists. Saka, when things were going good, you didn't believe you was as good as they said you are. So when things are going bad, I know you don't believe you're as bad as people say you are. And football fans are fickle, and Arsenal fans the same. 1 minute they love Zubi, then they hate him. They love the Gaffer, then they hate him. They love Timber, now they hate him. They love White, now they hate him. They love Kai, now they hate him. You know, it's weird. Football fans are weird, man. It's never going to change. But Saka, go do your thing. Let's see what David Moyes has said. He's defended Arteta on set pieces. I remember when you drew us out, David Moyes, earlier this season, and I watched you lot against Man United. But hey, I got nothing but respect for the legendary Scotsman, and I'm a bit nervous about tomorrow's game. You're making it sound like that's a problem because they're good at set pieces. There is, because people can't take it. Like, again, I'm sure we all know how the game's evolved. It's physical. It's more about athletes. There's little to no space. Strikers are just doing cardio 9 times out of 10. We struggle to break down low blocks, and everyone plays a low block against us. We need to find a way. And the set pieces has been that, on top of us needing to do more. There's this thing out there where everybody has to play the beautiful game and everything has to be perfect. Well, if we all did that, it'd be boring. Part of the reason you people are talking about is because it might be slightly different than what we've seen for a few years. It's giving you something to talk about, but we've been good at set pieces for a number of years. I'd hate to be going to football matches all the time and seeing football being played one way. I want teams to play different styles. I don't think set pieces are beautiful, but for argument's sake, if somebody did, I can't tell you nothing. Football is like music. I can't tell you heavy metal and garage and all of that. I hate garage. I can't tell you that's not beautiful music. And you can't tell me hip hop and drill and rap and all of that isn't. So I just want to marry it all. Unpopular opinion, we've shown elements. We've just not shown it on a consistent basis. And if anybody's anti-football, it's not us. We've got the highest line. Everyone plays low blocks against us. We're up there for goals from open play. We're third. We're up there for goals in whole totality of Europe. I think we've got 102 goals now. So that places us probably about third. Yes, we've scored from set pieces. And again, everyone should be good at set pieces. Everybody knows Arsenal's got 16 set pieces. Who knows about Spurs with 13 or Man United? Spurs have actually got a greater percentage of goals from set pieces than us. And this is all with us bitching about how we've been in attack. But people don't like to have proper discussions. It's all just false narratives. But yeah, cry more, man. A lot of people are backtracking on previous Arsenal takes because the stats have shown them up to be stupid and just being anti-football. And people need to make up their mind. If Arsenal's boring, why are you watching it? Because there's either two things. It's either Arsenal's boring and you're not watching it. So when you're coming out with these cliches and these statements that rile up Arsenal fans and do the rage bait kind of stuff, you're making comments that are outdated and somebody that's not watching us, or you're calling us boring, but you're watching us week in, week out. In the last 2 weeks, there's been bare games on midweek, whether we played in the Premier or the Champs. Why are you watching us? So that means you're watching us on a consistent basis. So we can't be that boring. And if we are boring and you consistently watch us, is that not an agenda? Hate and love is a very thin line. I don't tell you what to think, just think. This is why I don't take any of this in, man. We don't play great football on a consistent basis, 100%. But I don't think it's as dire as people make out. I'm frustrated about at the pace that we move the ball on occasion, 100,000,000%. But surely they hate watching. So you can't hate us that bad. I just got done talking with a massive Real Madrid fan, and he told me legit football fans are not knocking us. That respect is growing. If you were a neutral fan, would you watch us, DG? Be honest. Yeah. I'm not being funny. You can see my CV. You can see my CV. Right. How many games do I watch? Either with you lot or alone. And what is good football? I'm a Wenger baby, so it goes without saying what I think good football is. But football is subjective. As much as I don't believe we play entertaining and amazing football, I can't tell someone that's not. And also, I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. Right now, I can have my little bitch about how we're playing at the moment. I want the attackers to do this. I need that from the gaffer, bro. Win the fucking trophy. If you don't get over the line playing like this, then there's two things in it. You've not got it over the line for the 4th year in a row. You've played beautiful football or somewhat beautiful football in 1 year. You've done it this year. It ain't banged. Who cares, bro? Get it over the line then, by all means, regardless of if we win this title or not. We know what needs to be addressed, what's needed to be addressed. What needs to be addressed and what needed to be addressed has to be addressed next season. I'm not here to win Oscars. I'm not here to win admiration from other fans, because when it was us and Barcelona, what do people say? We're naive. We're a soft touch. You start clamping us, we're in issues. Of course, you want to have everything. You want to entertain. You want to be able to do the nasty elements and set pieces and all that. You want to play great football. Who gives a fuck? If you won't watch it, who cares? Who genuinely cares, bro? And I'll say it's not just an Arsenal thing. How many games this season in the Premier League have you watched that's been entertaining in terms of how the teams have played? Of course, we've had them high-scoring games where it's been a bit crazy. And whether I don't know, let's just say Arsenal and West Ham play each other tomorrow. Arsenal win 5-4. Do you think Arteta wants to play like that? Or if West Ham lose, they want to play like that? How many entertaining games do you play? It's not about the technical level. Of course, it'll always be about the technical level. It's all athlete focus. Games are congested. Every manager in the league is worth their weight in salt. Technically, it's a game of fine margins. Why do you think it's not just us set pieces? The dead balls and all of these things have never been more prevalent. So it's not just an Arsenal thing. The climate of Premier League football is in the bin. So if you're going to say that about Arsenal, bearing in mind we've got the highest line, we're third for goals from open play, we've bagged from set pieces, all of these things are brought out highest touches in the opposite op box. We're one of the better teams of this shit football then. So it can't be us. This is what, and I'm not even saying you're right or wrong. This is what I'm saying. Man need to question what they're actually saying. It's all fun and games coming out and saying the same things consistently, but do people actually check the statements they're coming out with? You lot can't love the game as much as you claim you do. You either hate my football club, which is great. I don't really care. And I'm not talking directly to Josh, by the way. You either hate my football club, which, cool, it is what it is, or you're not fans of the game. And what I mean by that is everyone put their flag down, whether you support Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, whatever. When you put your flag down of your club, if you truly love the game from a football purist aspect, you could see the game. You could see the current landscape. That's all I'm saying. Of all 20 teams, of all of them, rise up. Nobody can sit here and tell me 5-10 games been truly entertaining. Fulham comes to mind. Fulham City comes to mind. Brentford, Burnley the other week. That's because it's high scoring games. If anything, Bodo Glint's been entertaining me. Bodo Glint when they bopped Man City in the champs. Apologies. And then don't get me started on the champs campaign up until the Leverkusen game where no blocks. We're not playing wavy football in Europe anymore, which again, being able to break down low blocks or score goals, this is what I said at the start. That ain't something new. That is there from last season, which is where I'm looking at the gaffer. Hey, I don't know how you fix that, innit? I don't know. I ain't getting 50 mil a year. Whether people rate the gaffer or not, this is just my thoughts on the gaffer. You've done a bloody good job rebuilding this club. Obviously, we need to get over the line. Done a bloody good job getting us to this point. You get 15 mil a year. You've come from La Masia. You've learned from David Moyes. You've worked under Arsene Wenger. You was praised for your analysis and the individual analysis at Manchester City and what you did with them attacking players. You played very good football. I do think people forget how shaky we were defensively, but in the 2022-23 season, you've gone toe-to-toe with Pep Guardiola, with Luis Enrique, with Carlo Ancelotti. Whether you've won, lost, or draw, you've equipped yourself well against a company as well, some good gaffers. So I don't know how you fix it. You need to know, innit? Because as I said, I don't think the good, bad, and the ugly, I don't think I've learned anything new about my team. If they get over the line, cool, I've learned something new. But in terms of the playing and all of that kind of stuff, you can get where I'm going, innit? So yeah, man, it is what it is. It's fine that people hate us. It's part of our history. We're the Arsenal. This club almost killed my enthusiasm for football. I'm so glad I watched different teams, DG. I almost lost my faith in the game. Listen, get this over the line. DG, did you hear about Wenger's proposed FIFA offside rule change? No, I didn't, if he's come out with a new one. Media attacks Arsenal because our fans are easily triggered. They attack us because they hate us. They attack us because they're easily triggered. And a lot of our fans want validation from the pagans. Like, I'm not saying it's wrong. Like, of course, it's frustrating when you're seeing agendas and one rule for one and the next rule for others, like, for example, and I'm not trying to do the woe is me thing. You see when Chelsea do the huddle thing in the middle of the pitch, we all know what time it would have been if that was Arsenal. We all know if Arteta cried like Fabian Hurisla, or whatever his name is, what would have been said. Them things frustrate me. But we need to stop buying to it. You know they don't like us. It is what it is, people. But we're never going to do that widespread, innit? Because there's different, within a fan base and within my Arsenal fan base, I do think there's different subsections. I think though there's people that hide behind, I've got high standards. You say things that don't make sense. I do think there's sections of our fan base that are glorious losers that always try and find unnecessary positives where there's none. I do think there's some that lack testosterone. They ain't got no protein that can't deal with. You don't like us, fuck us. Fuck you lot. When Chelsea, City, Arsenal, this one, that one, any team or any athlete that's won something, history might paint them nicely, but at the time, no one liked them. Is where it is. The Invincibles weren't liked, and the goalposts will always move. They will always move. You will never gain, for them sections of fans, you will never gain the clarity that you want. They don't like us. It pays people's bills. Just keep it moving, bro. And if we win trophies, are you going to care what people got to say? Man are coming out and saying asterisks. Is there asterisks over Chelsea? How they came in and won trophies? Is there asterisks over City, 115? Get the hell out of here with this bullshit, man. But anyways, pardon my French. Mikel Arteta has spoken, people. Again, please make sure we're smashing the like button and all of those things. Let's see what the press conference is saying. On if there are any fresh injury concerns, no. On if Trossard and Odegaard could be available, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see and speak to the doctors on whether they're involved or not. As I've become accustomed to this season, like, I just wait to the match day. Whoever's in the starting 11 and who's ever on the bench and whoever's not there, that's where the conversations can start. In I don't know, man. Like Arteta's got us on strings a lot of the time. Yeah, man. On Havertz's penalty, well, every result, every performance shifts momentum, the emotional state of the team, and the fact that we managed to draw the game at the end. Obviously, it was a lift because in any context, we deserved for sure to lose that game. So yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, I'm moving to the next one. We have no time. The moment we finished that game, we had time to watch 1 or 2 matches in the Champions League. Or to be some good games and then back to business. On Fabian's comments, no, that's a personal conversation. Obviously, he's made public now certain comments that he made before and that he says he's a yap, bro. Whatever you say about my gaffer, Arteta's true, you know. He don't talk too much. We don't know, but we don't know for Fabian, man. You're a bit too emotional, and says that. I think a lot of positive things about him as a person, so I appreciate that and the rest. You know, I think he's a fantastic coach. The job that he's doing at Brighton is really, really good at, and that's fine. On if he's spoken to David Moyes this season, he's spoken a few times, bro. You ain't got time to speak to these guys, bro. Couldn't care less if others don't enjoy football. Couldn't care less if they don't like us. Just win. DJ, it's like you say, they hate us because they ain't us. The best way to hit back at these critics is to keep winning up the Gunners. I hear it. They know we are potentially close, something they're scared. And again, it's them who, I know there's sections of Arsenal fans who do madness, but it's them not saying Arsenal can win everything. No one can stop them. People that are not connected to the club actually are writing mad narratives and keeping our name alive. You know, if we just say there's 10 Arsenal fans, yeah, and they say Arsenal fans are unbearable, but you've got 10 Man United, City, Liverpool, this one, bro, fucking Fulham, everyone, the footballing world chatting shit. But then you'll gaslight us and say, you know, when we speak about the double standards, us against the world, nobody likes us, and that's cool. We don't like you lot either. Forget all of that. We've got so much things to consider. On if we've adopted a siege mentality with all the external noise, you just have to go into that dressing room and feel the mood. And again, Gaffer, I don't doubt that, and some of us don't doubt that. But you see, when you got a cup final next Sunday and moments like this, you need to prove them wrong and prove us and you lot right. Simple as that. The energy and the way we talk to each other and how much we value the position we have right now and how much we want to, for sure, to be in the same position at the end of the season. That depends on us. So our focus is on what we have to do, what we have to maintain, and what we have to improve together. On if it's difficult not to think about the quadruple, not to think about it, not really. I mean, if you're in our seat from competition to competition, we're going to play 7 days in 3 different competitions. So that drags you from one to the other. The urgency to get prepared, to translate the messages that you want, to make the right decisions, and to make sure that we arrive into any game in the best possible way, it's enough. And the rest is a consequence of the process and how well we do it, which is still very far. On if he hopes Tottenham stay up for the North London derby, bro, fuck Spurs, bro. Big up David Moyes on his longevity. On if style of play matters this season, it's playing the best football that you possibly can, and the game demands to give you the best possibility to win the game. That's it. I realized what's happening in the Premier League the other day with a really important factor. I was watching the Champions League game between Newcastle and Barcelona. For me, Barcelona are the most exciting team in Europe in many moments, the way they play, and they face one of the Premier League teams, Newcastle, who are exceptional in their intensity and their high pressure, everything, man to man, a huge amount of tools, a really good team in the transition. We saw a completely different game I've ever seen Barcelona play, and that's huge credit to Newcastle. But this is the league that we are playing in. Have you seen Barcelona's 1,000 passes that does it every week in Spain? No. It was a very difficult kind of game. Can it be beautiful? Yes. But Newcastle made that game, and so well done as well, and huge credit in the way they did it. On why only 6 Premier League games this season have been won by 4 or more goals. The same example, Newcastle, Barcelona. This is the reality. If you don't want to see it, it's probably because we have to change the glasses on the perspective that we see the game, because this is the reality of our league right now. Now, Arteta has articulated that way better than I did. But what did I just say about 2-3 minutes ago? That, no? On the gap between top and bottom, if you want to be the best league in the world by far, you need to have that entertaining unpredictability. If not, it becomes boring. How difficult it is to beat any opponent, and those numbers that you just mentioned, I think it's the best example of that. On the evolution of football, everybody is learning from each other. It's like putting information in the best laptop every day and gathering what you do so well. I'm going to try to replicate the same. This is moving so fast, but like any sport, I mean, when you go to the best tennis players, the best tournaments, it's like saying, no, the serve you cannot ace with the serve. It's not allowed. No, it's not allowed. It's a great way to win a championship. And in NBA saying, no, it's 3 points. You cannot shoot from there. No, everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing better and better because it's more effective, and it will keep evolving in every sport. In Formula One, the same thing happens. In marathons, the same thing happens. You don't want and you just don't want to see it. On if he believes there are ways he thinks about the game that others don't use. I don't know, but with every opponent, it's the same that you try to predict what is going to happen tomorrow. I always do that. I think that's what we will do. I think that's the kind of situation and the amount of situations you're going to have to defend in this specific way. This is what we have to do in attack to replicate these kind of scenarios, which are favorable for us, and try to match those things that is difficult. Smash the likes, people. What else have we got here? Bro, you can speak to international managers as much as you want. It's the belly of the beast. If you're an international manager, of course, you've got to have a good relationship, but you're trying to do what you're trying to do for your country. You get where I'm going. On if he'll be nervous, of course, we all will. Don't worry, we'll do that for Arteta. On if in swinging corners make football a game people don't enjoy watching. If you don't enjoy it, F off, man. And I can't lie, I just want to focus on stuff that's actually relevant to Arsenal Everton. On how to analyze Saka's output and his underlying metrics. We fully trust him and love him. What he's doing for us, for this club, it's just incredible at his age. And he continued to have that massive impact for us. He can have an individual performance that is probably not a reflection of his level, like every human, like every player in the world. But overall, when you look at his strength and the impulse he has in this team, it's just incredible. On us thinking about the League Cup final, no, because we come from 5 games in a very short period of time again. And you just have to go game by game, understanding who can play a certain amount of minutes, who doesn't. Maybe for the next game, you have an idea of what you can do, but 2 or 3 games away is quite difficult at the moment. On having 6 home games left at home in all comps and how much of an advantage that will be. Yes, because it was really complicated. I think at some stage we had 4 away from home in a row, some very difficult games as well. But that's the calendar. That's the beauty of it as well. I mean, everyone plays everyone twice, isn't it? Obviously, at home, we are very, very strong, and using that in the right way can be a deciding factor. On how important it is to maintain a gap between us and City. Well, I mean, every game that you win now is a massive step towards the objective. And tomorrow, as you said, we have a very difficult one. So, yeah, we're going to have to earn it. And if we do earn it, we're going to be closer. If this club sells Skelly, we must riot. How have we not only got 50 likes? You lot hate me, man. So I'm going to stay on the radio forever, eh? Smash the like button if you haven't, on a serious note, though, man. DG, is it time? Is it me or is the market dead? Regardless of what Arsenal needs, who would you name as the top 5 attainable transfers next summer? It feels so underwhelming, even in comparison to last summer. I'm fully with you, JT, there. The Arsenal fans are unbearable, while half the fan base refuse to be positive because of PTSD, and it's just as critical as dishonest rivals. Let's just get over their line. DG, would you sell Trossard this summer? Honest answer, not the PR one as well. Yeah, I'd consider it. It's a weird one because if you're trying to be still in win now mode, then I understand hanging on to Trossard for a year or 2 and like you're just part of the squad. But I also understand the age factor. Maybe, you know, if you're presented an offer, it is what it is. I have changed a bit because I am on selling Trossard and Martinelli to a degree. Last summer, as you would know because you was here, for all of the rumours around Trossard and Nelly leaving, I didn't want either to leave because I wanted depth. Obviously, I don't know how it all works, but I just wanted another left winger. I wanted that game changer left winger, and kind of Trossard or Martinelli in how he was playing in the first half of the season. You're a super sub, a rotationary option, and the same goes for Trossard. The only thing I think I've learned this season, or better yet, the only surprise is that Trossard has kind of grabbed that left wing spot for his own. Other than that, it's a madness, really. So, yeah, big up David Moyes for his longevity. We've gone over that. There's nothing there. Everton are nasty away from home, man. They're nasty away from home. The Toffees are unbeaten from home since mid-December and next travel to the Emirates on Saturday with a record of 4 wins in their past 5 away matches. So they have been travel happy. And it, crazy. Since he returned as manager in January 2025. We've only got 1 more win than them. They've won 1 more than Manchester City. They're level with Brentford, and they've got 1 more win than both Crystal Palace and Aston Villa. Listen, Everton are not going to be easy. We had to rely on a penalty in the reverse fixture. It's not going to be easy. Arsenal open contract talks with Declan Rice. What do we make of this? Sammy Maltbell said, Arsenal begun talks, or better yet, have begun talks with midfielder Declan Rice over a new long-term contract. Rice's existing deal still has 2 years left to run, while there's also an option to extend that term by a further 12 months. But the Premier League leaders are looking for the England international to commit his prime years to the club. The offer will include a pay rise to solidify his position as one of Arsenal's best earners. We all know Saka's obviously signed a new deal. Declan Rice is on $240 a week, so he'd probably draw even closer to Bukayo. Discussions are described as being at an early stage and no timeline has been set for their completion, which is good because you've got 2 years with an option of another. So essentially 3 years one Bandulu year, but 3 years on. It's still nice to see, really. And we have moved to lock down the futures of Saka, Saliba, Magalhaes, Myles Lewis-Skelly, Wanyeri in the last 12 months. We've also opened talks over a new deal for Jurin Timber. Both Trossard and Raya have also signed improved terms, although those deals did not include additional time on their deals. Very interesting when I look at Trossard. We're 7 points clear of City. It could turn to 10 before City kick a ball. So tomorrow's going to be quite exciting. Myles Lewis-Skelly's future at Arsenal next season is unclear, and he could be sold or more likely loaned out. Skelly has told Mikel Arteta of his major frustrations at a lack of playing time. Again, we've gone over this already, people. Videos coming out at 10 in relation to this. I don't really want to keep going over that, but he's made 12 starts and 26 in total. When was the last time he started a game in the Premier League? That should be a trivia. Big up Kai Havertz for returning to full fitness. Arsenal are trying to clamp down on ticket trouts. I don't really care about that, man. Get how you live. We've been linked with another defender, though. We're in talks to sign RB Leipzig centre-back Castello Lukeba. Apparently, we have initiated preliminary talks with RB Leipzig centre-back Lukeba over a summer move, according to a report from L'Equipe. The 23-year-old remains tied with the Red Bull-owned Bundesliga outfit with a contract set to expire in 2029, but the one-time French international will be a man in demand this summer. The outlet understands that Lukeba will seek a new challenge after spending the last 3 seasons in Eastern Germany. He won't be short of suitors. Apparently, a number of Premier League and La Liga sides are looking at him, people. Arsenal have sent scouts to monitor him. How do you know we're looking at him or looking at another player, or we're just looking at when we went to scout him, apparently, watching someone from the other team? So far, the Gunners are yet to submit an official bid to Leipzig, nor a contractual offer to Lukeba. I don't really buy it, because if he was a right-sided centre-back, I'll take it more in. Although talks have taken place in the last few weeks, Leipzig would be keen to engage in a bidding war to raise their selling price above the 60 million euros mark. And we all know how the Sesko saga went, people. But yeah, we've ramped up our interest apparently in this individual. He could go for a fee of 50 to 60 million. I don't think he goes to us. But he said his dream is to become a world champion or to win the Champions League. So that's the kind of ambition you do want, people. We followed him and we have been following him. He looks like he's on the move in the summer. So maybe, 2 + 2 = 100 where the tabloids are concerned. Chelsea have been linked with Calafiori in the summer. I'll believe it when I see it. Alvarez is apparently ready to return to the Premier League amid interest from both Arsenal and Chelsea. Although Alvarez would prefer to complete a Camp Nou switch, he reportedly wants a transfer to be finalized quickly, and there are concerns over Barcelona's ability to achieve this given their financial issues and Athletic's desire to offload the Argentina superstar to a foreign team. With this in mind, his reps have been in talks with both Arsenal and Chelsea to reveal that Alvarez would be open to moving to London this summer. A deal is far from advanced, but both clubs are understood to be keeping close tabs on his situation. I'll believe it when I see it. Because if you're going to buy him, I don't think you get a big money left winger. Now, granted, if you could get someone that don't break the bank that addresses left wing, great. And apparently Arsenal's financial restrictions this summer may mean that they cannot pursue a move for Newcastle United Sandro Tonali. We'll have to see. Arsenal are understood to need to proceed cautiously over the summer due to PSR worries. Recent reports suggest 8 senior stars were amongst those being considered to leave, including academy products, Ethan Wanyeri and Myles Lewis-Skelly. Mikel Arteta isn't stopped from making additions to his squad in the summer. However, a pursuit of Tonali doesn't appear to be high on the club's priority. Okay, so taking what you want there. High Roma demands for Kone, apologies, as Inter, Arsenal and Chelsea target new midfielder. Hasn't quite kicked on as much as projected, the Roma starlet, people. But yeah, Inter Milan and everyone's linked with him. We need a midfielder, so I believe it. We're still linked along with City with Livramento for what it's worth. Ethan Wanyeri, at the moment, I can guarantee that Arsenal maintain full confidence in the player. Arsenal are waiting for him to complete the season at Marseille for this final 10-11 games and then come back to Arsenal. They believe in Wanyeri 100%. So the message from Arsenal is still optimistic. In the summer, they'll speak to the player to understand what's the best solution for him, whether it's staying at Arsenal or maybe going on loan somewhere else. They will then assess all the options with the player, but Arsenal maintain full trust in Wanyeri. Do you think it depends what we do this season/seasons in terms of bringing in another midfielder? Obviously, indirectly, Odegaard. I would say Odegaard, Merino, Kai Havertz in particular. Odegaard, Merino, Kai Havertz, and Norgard. I think positions just need to open up because we all know Eze and Odegaard are going to be ahead of Wanyeri. We just brought in Madueke. You've got Max Dalman, right wing looks congested. You could draw parallels with the midfield where Myles Lewis-Skelly is concerned. And obviously at left back, people probably just have to wait for positions to open up. Aston Villa and Arsenal are both linked with Julian Brandt. who, like Goretzka, who we're also linked with, could be probably will be a free agent in a matter of months. And as somebody mentioned, Kevin Sade, I cannot pronounce his name, of Brentford is drawing interest from Arsenal, and we're exploring the market for wingers this summer. He's understood to be one name being discussed internally. At this moment in time of recording, the 24-year-old has 7 goals and 3 assists in the Premier League, leaving it quite fine, but could be on course to have his best ever season. You know, if he gets 5-6 more goals, he got 12 in all comps last season. We're searching for a left winger. It makes sense. Arsenal and Brentford have a good relationship, so that could help with Sharda. One source said he's on the radar of a few clubs for some time now, but Arsenal's interest is growing. You having him? You're not having him? Where you all at with that, people? Yan Diomande, apparently also of Leipzig, is too expensive for Bayern Munich, so that could help Arsenal and Liverpool, people. What do we make of that? MLS not for sale under no circumstances. I hope so, man. Man said, brother, did MLS date your sister or something? Well, don't reply to Marcel. He's capping. We could have got Kara, and he's making history at PSG rather than at Arsenal. You need to buy the best, not second best. Let's not repeat that for Alvarez. Boy, appreciate you, my boy. Big up your super chat, Marcel. Hale and Scrub will end up at Fulham dead food. Marcel, allow it, because half of Liverpool's youngsters didn't even come from Liverpool, bro. How's Curtis Jones? You still running him as a youngster? You went and got that Enoni guy from West Brom. You're flexing Cobham Mutes. Less of that, man. Myles Lewis-Skelly must have took your girl. Hating on the 18, 19-year-old is crazy, man. Drink responsibly, guys and girls out there. You don't want to end up like this individual. DG, did you consult the Calafiori Chelsea links? Do you think there's any truth to him wanting to be more of a centre-back? I guess so. Maybe he sees himself as a centre-half, but to Chelsea, I don't see it. But as much as I like Calafiori, if they're willing to pay over the odds for Calafiori, about time we zang them. I don't think so, though. I think the club improved a lot in contract negotiations. Getting these contracts negotiated so early gives the players a clear signal that they're wanted. Big up Berta and the wider team that have worked with him. Ndiaye of Everton would be great, but they're going to want a lot of peace. However, I don't want this manager to get any signings, to be honest. He has ruined every attacker. Yeah, but he's probably not going to get sacked. So you want players, so we're going to have to get some people, man. Can you please stay real and oppose the narratives being made just for views? The hell are you talking about? Anyways, we need to change our mentality as a fan base. No player is unattainable. If we get over the line this season, if Arteta wants Szoboszlai, he's unattainable. I hear it, man. Big up Arteta. I literally said the same thing in my vid earlier. Look at the Newcastle game for a proper reflection of where the Prem is. Regardless of winning trophies or not, we need to sell 4 or 5 this summer. Probably. We clearly do, man. We need more creative midfielders or someone who can do both the creative and defensive duties. But we probably do. And I don't want Lewis-Skelly sold, but if he was to go, I wouldn't be against him and Nwaneri going out on loan next year. Because I do think positions need to open up in the squad. Either Arteta needs to put his hat on them and say, yep, like you're involved, or go out on loan, innit? Go develop, come back. But the club might, as I said, in terms of bringing in income, Nwaneri, Myles Lewis-Skelly, they're going to make you a lot more money than a Trossard, than a Kai Havertz, than a Odegaard, etc. You never know. If we can hustle, you never know. But just as a novice looking at it, that's how I see it, man. But with that being said, man, it's Friday. Why am I being here and boring you lot? I'm sure you lot got better things to do. If you don't, in 7 minutes, a Myles Lewis-Skelly video is coming out. Hopefully, I see you lot tomorrow, people, for 2 watch-alongs with Arsenal versus Everton. And then we're going to watch West Ham United against Manchester City. Sunday, we'll be watching Liverpool Spurs together. As usual, appreciate you lot taking part, your comments, everything, man. DG Nation, you're far too amazing for me. Hope this week's been great. Hope the weekend's great. And I hope next week is great for you lot in your personal life. So, yeah, you lot stay in good health. Stay safe. Stay blessed. We'll link up again soon, man. Stop drinking, you crack.